Sometimes I get so tired.
Nothing comes before a drug.
I'm just trying to find a place to lay my head.
I have actually hit bottom.
If any family deserves to be helped, you know, I think it'd be ours.
Addiction is not going to run our lives anymore.
I know there's something more.
Do you want to fight for your life, or do you want to die, which in return will kill your family?
I've seen the great heights.
Mom, will you get the help?
Was that necessary?
Yeah, it is.
I'm not going to rehab.
This is it.
Please get help. I'll beg you, please. I'll go.
I don't wanna die. I don't wanna
The door's open. Now it's just walking through it.
I know there's something more.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel.
I want my son back.
Sun in the sky, you know how I feel.
She's got to stop abusing these drugs.
Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Go get sober and have your child come back into your life.
And I'm feeling good.
Okay, welcome. I'm Dan Partland. I'm the executive producer of Intervention. I just want to say a couple of quick remarks before I hand it off. First, I want to thank Hollywood Health and Society and also a bunch of our intervention staffers for putting this together. And also glad to have a bunch of our partners, treatment professionals, here as well. The first thing, the background on this event is we've actually been trying to put this together for a long time and have it be a regular part of our process, which is to say I was doing a tour. Actually, I mean the idea started with Kurt. I feel like it's years ago that we started doing this, and until Hollywood Health and Society helped us out, we kind of couldn't put all the pieces together. But I was giving a tour of our office, and if you ever go on a tour of a production company, it's actually, there's almost nothing to see. People want to see where the thing gets made, and there is no place that the thing gets made because it happens in a lot of little different places over a very long period of time. But I toured somebody through, and I said, okay, and here's the office where people are reading submissions, and here they're calling families, and here they're watching tapes and all that. And here they're planning new shoots. And I have to say that the tour really delivered. It was kind of an exciting tour when I got to see it through the eyes through fresh eyes of a person who hadn't been there before. Because in every room that we walked into, people were having kind of really interesting, thoughtful conversations about addicts, about families, about addiction, about storytelling. And about what was going to be new or different or interesting in whatever episode they were working on. And so the person I was giving the tour to said, "Oh my God, this is amazing. What do you do to train these people?" And we thought, oh my God, that is a big oversight, isn't it? We don't, this is purely on-the-job training. And there's something that feels kind of wrong about that with the depth and the complexity and importance of the subject matter we're dealing with. I think we do a very good job of it, but it's been missing this component. So I'm happy that we're able to put something in place to do it tonight. The other thing I wanted to say is just to say what this event is. I mean, it's intervention staff and also some treatment professionals. The irony of us doing this show that actually is, I think, putting a lot of very valuable information out in the public about addiction and recovery is that we're not actually experts on addiction and recovery. We're experts on storytelling. Narrative storytelling is our area of expertise. And that isn't nothing, through the history of civilization, storytelling, narrative storytelling, has been the most powerful tool to pass on cultural knowledge that has ever been created. You know, there is a reason that the cavemen painted on the walls, you know, because we can teach and teach and teach, but the ideas don't necessarily stick. The power of narrative storytelling is that the human beings turned out to have just a tremendous capacity for empathy. They can see somebody else going through something and have a vicarious experience where they feel like they go through it a little bit themselves and they gain some little bit of insight from seeing another person go through it. And I think that really is how these ideas proliferate in the culture. Years ago, I was hired to write a script to convert a really bad dime store novel, like a crime novel, into a movie. And they thought that the plot was really great, but they really wanted something with a lot of depth and complexity, and that I was going to be the guy who was going to translate the book, which was very dramatic, into keep the drama but add all this complexity to it. And I thought that would be a pretty doable thing, because plots are hard when you're doing storytelling. So if you start with one, you should be able to deliver on it. The problem was that the plot depended, as with most scripted fare, the plot depended on a sort of concept of evil. You know, that what put the plot into motion was that there were just bad people. There were bad people who did horrendously bad things. And it becomes very easy to have very dramatic conflicts in that story. If you're going to concede that there's such a thing as bad people who just intend to do bad all the time. So the difficulty, I think, or maybe it's the strength in what we're trying to do with these nonfiction stories, is to try to tell a story that has every bit as much complexity and taut conflict, but where it wasn't put into motion by an act of evil, that somebody just wanted to do some horrendous harm, that all the people in the story are good. And my belief, or where I come from in doing all of this, is that kind of storytelling and telling those kind of stories is valuable to the culture, that it breeds compassion in the culture. When you can tell a story, if it lets you know, if you say the next day, like, oh my God, my neighbor, I just saw him do something horrendous, but you know what, well, wait a minute, you know, maybe he has a perspective too. Maybe something happened to him, or he's wrestling with some things. That your reaction, a reaction that I think all people are capable of, would come much more easily. But where we go to so frequently is that he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. And where do we get that idea? We get that idea by the diet of stories that we're consuming all the time, that there are just these bad guys. And that informs, I think, all kinds of things about the way the culture works. On the specific subject of addiction, certainly, I think our show, there's depictions of addiction in tons and tons of shows, but I think our show is the only one where, in a sense, the addict is the protagonist. And that makes the story instantly more interesting. If you will concede at the beginning that this isn't a bad person, that in a sense we're on board with them, we want them to succeed, and then gives you excuses or gives you a window into why they might do bad without being bad people or evildoers. So I think that's where the richness for us in the subject matter comes from. And I think the point of what we're hoping to do tonight is the better educated and informed we all are about the subject matter, the more of these ideas will leach into the storytelling, and the more valuable information that's going out about addiction and recovery from our show. Because you can teach this stuff, and you can write pamphlets, and you can do a whole lot of other things, but it's hard to match the power of the narrative storytelling in being able to communicate these ideas to a mass audience. So that's the genesis of this program. We hope to do similar events like it in the future, but this is the inaugural event. We have two great speakers that we're thrilled to have, but I'm going to pass it on to the director of Hollywood Health and Society, Sandra de Castro Buffington, to guide us through the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dan. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. My name is Sandra de Castro Buffington. I am the director of Hollywood Health and Society, which is a program of the USC Annenberg Norman Lear Center. What we do is connect writers and producers with experts on just about any health topic you can think of to help them ensure accuracy of the health content for their scripts. So you can call on us anytime for any topic. Dan, you got at so many important points about why storytelling works and why it's so important. We consider all of you our master storytellers in the world, Hollywood's writers and producers. And what we know from research is that nearly 2/3 of regular viewers of television report learning something new about health from TV shows, and nearly 1/3 of those viewers take action on what they've learned. That means that what you're offering viewers is a huge service. The other piece, and Dan alluded to this too, we do a lot of, because we're a research institution, we measure the impact of TV shows on viewers. And I want to just talk for a minute about something that in the literature is called transportation, so that when there's really compelling storytelling, viewers become transported. This is a measure of engrossment. The viewers forget their surroundings, they forget what time it is, they come to view the characters as beloved family or friends, and they care deeply what happens to them. And in that state, they have much greater knowledge gains. So we're looking at, what are people learning about health? Are they gaining knowledge? Are their attitudes shifting? And are they taking any action as a result? So the more accurate a story is, the more compelling it is, the more transported a viewer is. And that really gets us out of the didactic box and into entertainment, but entertainment with accurate content. That's kind of the magic combination. Well, some of you know that Hollywood Health and Society holds panel discussions here at the Writers Guild several times a year. John Wells, the president of the Guild, is the co-chair of our board. And tonight, we're launching the intervention speaker series. This is the first event, and we hope to have many more, and we'll be, bringing experts in to meet with you according to your needs and timing. And tonight, we're joined by two extraordinary speakers who will share cutting-edge information on addiction research. First, I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Tom McClellan. He's the Deputy Director of the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy. He is the lead advisor to the Drug Czar. And he addresses a broad range of drug control issues, and he assists in formulating and implementing the President's National Drug Control Strategy. And Dr. McClellan brings 35 years of addiction treatment research to this position, and most recently at the Treatment Research Institute, a nonprofit that he co-founded in 1992 to transform the way science is used to understand substance abuse. And he will speak to us today about new and emerging issues related to drug abuse and treatment. And next we have Dr. Adam Leventhal. And Dr. Leventhal is a faculty member at the USC Keck School of Medicine, also the USC Institute for Health